Hello everyone and welcome back to the Hyperspace Cube channel. And today I wanted to do a little video on the cube format. With the excitement of Star Wars trading card game here, Star Wars Unlimited has just been great. And I do get a lot of questions about what is a cube. And so I wanted to make a video to hopefully get other people in the community to build a cube, and those who have built cubes in different past trading card games, and to get them to talk about their design, what kind of cube are they building, what kind of results are they getting with their friends. So just wanted to kind of give a little presentation about it. So all in all, what is a cube? It's basically a curated selection of Star Wars Unlimited cards assembled by a player to create a custom drafting or sealed environment. Just like we do with draft, we're going to open booster packs and that are already pre-selected. And so this format is one of my favorites, one that I learned while playing Magic the Gathering. And I think it's just a fun way to have, it's a lot of fun with friends in between, maybe when going to a tournament, to kill time back at the hotel room, to get together with friends, for a night of playing Star Wars. So what are the different types of SWU cubes that you can build? Well, one of them that people do build is called Peasant Cube. It's a little bit more of a budget friendly because it only uses commons and uncommons. And so you'll only have common and uncommon leaders and cards. And so I think it's pretty cool. It's a different format to see what common or uncommon is pretty powerful. And it's a little bit more budget friendly because, of course, you see how expensive Vader is today. And this is kind of a different way that someone can build a cube. Another one is called Pauper Cube. It's very popular in Magic, and where there's a big Pauper format, which is just basically means commons only. And so that also creates a different type of metagame in it, just using common cards. So this is another different aspect of it. Another cubes that someone can build could be a theme cube. So only using cards maybe that are just Force, for example. You can build a Jedi versus Sith cube. You can do, like we do right now in Sparks of Rebellion, Imperials versus Rebels. In the future, as more sets come out, maybe you just want to focus on characters that were in episodes 4, 5, and 6. Or maybe you want to do just a prequel kind of cube. The design factor of it is pretty infinite. The cube that I normally do build one is called Powered Cube. It just basically uses the best card out there. As more cards come out, I kind of have to reevaluate and see, how could you pit a removal. Maybe there's a better removal in the future that costs something less in the same colors. Do we factor in by including more copies of it, or taking out copies of it? It all really depends on the synergy of your deck, of your cube, and how you want to build it. So why design a cube? I think you can just tailor your play experience. If you want to do something budget friendly and get your friends involved, and it doesn't require them to invest in cards. You're the one kind of doing the investment, but they can just come along and join and have some fun. I think that's also a cool reason to create one. I think also there's endless replayability. This time I'm going to draft a deck with Sabine. Next time I will use the Inquisitor. Cards that normally you, or leaders you probably normally wouldn't use if you play a lot of Premier and Constructed. It gives you a chance to also, in the future, when more sets come out, see the interactions between cards that you could use in a draft if you had, set 1, Sparks Rebellion, and a card from a different set. I think once new sets come out, usually the drafts and seals are all focused on just the the expansion that came out of that set, but it's kind of nice to see if there's synergy between the first set and the second set, and same with future sets that come out. And I think the most important part, of course, is cultivating community and camaraderie. I remember one of my favorite things to do when traveling to play at a PTQ, trying to qualify for a big time tournament in Magic, was to bring my cube along. And maybe I didn't do so well in the tournament and I lost my first 2 matches and I knew that I was pretty much dead in the water for making top 8. I would just make friends and say, hey, you want to sit down in cube? And people are like, yeah, of course, let's draft. And so what that does is just brings camaraderie. You get to meet new people. Maybe you inspire other people to build cubes. And also it's like, it gives you something to do as well in the meantime while your friends are crushing it in the tournament, and you can kind of kill some time and play. So I think this is kind of a reason why I think it's fun to design a cube. I think also it gives you an idea of evaluating cards and also being good at building decks and constructing and kind of starting to think of a design and think about how could I be better with sealed and draft. And I think that helps in pre-releases in the future to get better at that, because I think doing draft and evaluating cards and knowing what to take and a first pick, when do you shift if you're seeing cards that are being taken from your person to the left and to the right. I think that's one of the most hardest things to learn, and I think this helps with getting you better at it. So here are some steps to design it. You want to definitely define the theme, the power level, and the size of your cube. You want to have aspect balance. You want to have the right amount of events and ground units and space units. You definitely want to have, a balance between all the different archetypes as well, and aspect balances. And you also want to have ways that people can build an aggro deck to support those leaders that are a little bit more aggressive. You want to support mid-range type of an archetype, and then of course you want control. And maybe you don't even know, in the future there could be cards that can combo out, and there'll be combos. So you could also support that kind of archetype as it goes. And then you want to play test. You want to evaluate gameplay experiences. Maybe a card is not working out so much that it gets resourced and it's not that powerful. And there's cards that I even found out when playing with friends that were really great in Premiere and really great in Draft, and I overlooked it because when the set was fully released, I started to construct a cube, and I kind of just started reading cards and my experiences in different trading card games and saying, is this card good? Is it not? But I am learning all the time too, and making adjustments based on feedback I get from friends and my own. So how can you build one? Well, here's an example. Of course, this is just a shell. It's up to you to decide how you want to design it. This is kind of just what I've seen in my experience. So this is to support 8 players. You can do 360 cards, or some people can do 540 cards. There's a question too of, can you include more copies of one card? It's up to you. I personally know that a majority of cubes is singleton, so only 1 copy of each card, but of course it's your own design. 15 cards per pack, and each player will get 3 packs. Before we start drafting, there's going to be a leader draft, so you know which leader you're going to be kind of developing your deck for. So you'll have like 24 leaders total, and you randomly will give 3 leaders to each player, and we'll do a draft of those leaders. I personally, at the moment, decided to go for a 2 to 4 player cube because, it's only the first set, and I didn't want to include multiple copies of cards. I wanted to start smaller and grow as sets come out. So I have 180 cards right now. Singleton, each player will get 5 packs of 9 cards, and then we'll do a leader draft before starting to draft each pack. So for me, I love this because I got to really start to evaluate cards and trying to see and whittle it down. How do I get from like 250, 252 all the way down to 180? It was a really fun process. And I do look forward to, making this 360 cards so I can support 8 players and expand the synergy and expand the cube design. And so one thing I decided to do was just create like an Excel file where I keep track of all the aspects and how many copies I'm or what cards that I'm using and cards that didn't make the cut. I also, what's important to me is the variant. I have a goal of having all foils. I just want every single card to be foil. Doesn't matter if it's hyperspace or just regular foil. I also want to have all the showcases as the leader. So for me, like, I just want to pimp it out. That's just always been my goal. I love foils, and I love to have like all foil decks. So this is a goal for me. So when I start trading with friends, trading with people at events, I always look for foils, and I always try to trade for cards that I need in my cube. And that's why I have a list that I know what I'm looking for when I'm going to trade, and help other people out with cards that they need to, so they can play as well and be more involved in the community. I then have a total at the end here that kind of gives me a balance of how many ground units, space units, events, and upgrades I have. And as more cards come out and the spoilers happen for set 2, this is going to be great to evaluate and see where are things changing in the cube, because it's always going to change. That's what makes it fun. I think the more leaders come out, the more different cards might become better in the future, and you can kind of start to reevaluate the cards that like didn't make the cut, and they probably are better going into the future sets. So this is kind of just an example of a thought process of building a cube, and I hope that many other people in the community begin to, build their own, design it how you want to. And I look forward to like meeting people at events, because I always will bring my cube with me everywhere I go, and I always ask people, do y'all want a cube? And let's sit down and draft it together. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and learned a little bit about this format. And yeah, I hope to make more videos as well, showing my cube fully, like where I store it is what I'm working on next, and then go into a complete aspect breakdown of every card I included in all the different aspects here. So take care, everyone, and until next time.